very much.
Welcome back. Now, that fitness session was run by a gentleman, right? And yeah, a gentleman who has honed the art of keeping fit, and he's training many others to do so.
I love how
that's
you
what he
segue
does.
into all of these things.
Now, there are a lot of men doing a lot of great things, and they are doing it to the best of their ability all day, every day. But why is it that on International Men's Day, it's probably around 12 noon that we remember or we identify the posts on social media?
Day after, dear.
I'm saying 12 noon because it was at 12 noon, halfway through the day, that I was like, wow, it's Men's Day. There are a lot of men in our lives, and of course, they do deserve to be celebrated. But why is it that it has been such a challenge to sort of create such a buzz around it like International Women's Day has? Ladies, I'm throwing this to the floor now. I'm not sure who wants to take it first.
All right, so I'll actually say this. Right? I did see a post on social media yesterday talking about how, if it's International Women's Day now, we'll not hear word everywhere, every conference, this one, that one, everything. But today now, where are the men? Well, I will say that I think it's just because generally, it's known to be a man's world, right? And there has never been a reason to pause and then focus on the man, because the focus has always been on the man. Okay. So now the idea of International Women's Day literally stems from the idea of women now stepping up, right? Trying to be more heard, more seen, literally stepping into position and like taking up space, and then, do you understand, breaking the idea of patriarchy. Do you understand? And now it just seems like, oh yeah, the men are now back burner, because I mean, women are literally taking it up and stepping up and literally doing a whole lot of things. Yeah. So in the idea of thinking and celebrating Men's Day, the thoughts literally came, and I mean, conversations around a number of people talking about how, I mean, if you look at how many women are literally into developing the next generation of women, literally grooming ladies in finance, in tech, even like emotional well-being, overall mental health, and all of that, as it has to do with women, we have a lot of that. Even the general idea of like bringing forth creation, right? Even the Bible literally talks about how the younger generation should literally groom the older generation. Do you understand? But like, we don't have things like that. Like, I was trying to think, okay, how many books do I actually know that speak to the man? There are a lot of them actually,
of course, that
speak to the man and the grooming. So I'm coming to Nigeria. I remember a friend of mine literally just dropped a book not too long ago. He was actually on the show as well, talking about dear men, right? How to also, do you understand? A lot of men don't think about how, okay, my brother also needs to, Jonathan, I'll be talking to you, sit down, let's have heart-to-heart. So all those kind of things. So I just think, thinking about it, when I actually tried to encapsulate it, that's actually the idea of why it seems like men are not so
to what you said, right? It also comes from a place of, like you said, it's a man's world. Over the years, men have always been seen to have guts. They've always been seen to be strong, confident, resilient, brave. They're the go-getters. They're the ones who are obligated to provide for the family. So there's usually that, and then why they are not celebrated is because of that disconnect when it comes to their emotional well-being, how they emotionally, you know how women are. Most of us, we deal with people, or some of our relationships, we use empathy. There's that empathy in terms of connection with our children. We care more about them. It doesn't mean that the men do not care, but in terms of physical presence, there's always a vacuum. In terms of that emotional, support, there's usually that vacuum. So in that regard, a lot of people really do not feel that endearments, to their fathers, to the men in their lives, because of the roles that they play. It doesn't mean that is how they want to be. It's just how, it's the responsibility that's been given to them that, just sort of disconnects them that way. So now, thankfully, there's a lot of awareness, and that's why the theme for the International Women's Day this year borders on men's health champions, and why the focus has to be on their emotional and their mental well-being. Yesterday, I sent my husband a message, I just needed to be sure. So I told him yesterday, I called him and I said to him that, you know what, just send me your Azar. let me send you something to, have a haircut. Even if it's haircut, we laughed about it because, I mean, but then again, just the thought of it, how often, as women, how often do we take our men out? How often do we ask about their mental and emotional well-being? These are the things that we need to begin to rein in, and we need to be more intentional about, not just waiting for International Men's Day to do those, to do those things, but every single day.
International Men's Day itself, it's a global awareness day for many different reasons, but people actually are not so sure what is being celebrated or being highlighted. From what it says here online, it says there are a lot of issues that men face that is outside their general responsibilities. Responsibilities of providing for their homes and being a strong pillar, support for their families. They deal with emotional abuse. They deal with homelessness, suicide. They also deal with discrimination, violence. And I'm saying it this way because it feels like a lot of people have identified Men's Day as a day where the softer men feel like they should be celebrated. Because it's, why are you expecting someone to celebrate you for your responsibility, something you're supposed to be doing anyway? So let's just identify the fact that there are quite a few other things men are going through that has nothing to do with their everyday activities, making money, providing for their children, etc., etc. There are a lot of things that men go through that they cannot talk about, and this gives them a platform to talk about it. Now, there is a soap brand, it's Color Blue, let me just put it that way. They, for the past, I think, 3 or 4 years, have provided a platform for International Men's Day. And I mentioned it earlier that commercialization of these days is what ends up making them bigger. When people believe that they can sort of make some kind of financial gain from selling, International Women's Day has pin, has outfits, has color, they've commercialized it. It's the same way you commercialize other
but we need
celebrations.
to go beyond that
every
because
year.
now we have a lot of women communities. We have support groups, that are, focused on our emotional and mental well-being. And I think that the men, there has to be that encouragement. The men need to create some of those support groups where they can talk about their feelings
for themselves.
So now I'm also going to say this in
closing.
I'm going to say this in closing. I think another thing that's very important that we notice that to a very large extent, despite the fact that in certain areas we see men as selfish, right? To a very large extent, men are actually selfless. I'm saying this because the reason I feel they don't feel the need to go on about International Men's Day is because they don't feel the need to be celebrated. And I literally see that in my day-to-day interactions with my husband. So he's doing something, I'm trying to make a big deal out of it. And I was like,
it's normal.
And you move on. Do you understand? So it's basically because they literally will do what they need to do. They don't need anybody telling them that you are a man. They know that it's women that we are the ones that were struggling with hormones and emotions. Sometimes it's like we're not sure, okay, today we're a woman, tomorrow we want to be a man, tomorrow we are in between. Well. Yes, they actually do, but my point still remains that they actually are just okay being who they are, doing the best they can without necessarily standing and waiting for anybody to
clap for them
and keep on applauding. So happy International Men's Day, you guys.
Exactly.
We celebrate
we celebrate you and wish you the very best. Give a man a hug right now.
Give a man a hug day.
Give a man a hug.
Not too
Mr.
tight.
Francis,
not too tight.
Avoid me.
Not too
Give
tight.
a man a hug today.
Maybe pay for someone's haircut.
Yes,
do that. And on that note, we would like to hear your comments, guys. Remember to use the hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC when sending in those comments. You could also, send in your special shout-outs to whomever, the special man in your life. And, just target him. Just drop it in the comments, and then of course maybe we would, maybe who knows, maybe today or tomorrow on the show we would give those special shout outs to those special men in your life. But on that note, we're going to quick break. The show continues in a bit, people. Stay with us.